Japanese media are reporting that China has suspended imports of Japanese seafood. This after Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaishi suggested earlier this month that Tokyo could intervene militarily in any attack on Taiwan. This has led to a strong reaction from Beijing, who last week advised its citizens not to travel to Japan and for those studying there to be careful. China's Foreign Affairs Ministry did not confirm the reports about the seafood ban, but said there was no market for it in China because of the anger of Chinese nationals. For more on this story, Camenzind Broomby joins me now from Beijing. Jan, what more do we know about this reported seafood ban and the other measures?
This is the latest in a series of spats, a diplomatic row that have been taking place over the last few days between China and Japan. We heard today from authorities here that there would be a ban on Japanese seafood imports, and this is going to be set to have a large impact on the Japanese seafood industry. There was a temporary ban on Japanese seafood exports to China. There was a big hope in Japan that this ban would be relaxed. In fact, it had been relaxed in recent months. This industry was starting to pick up once again, and now it seems like this has once again been shut down. China, the Chinese market, once accounted for more than a fifth of all Japanese seafood exports. And it's not just that. In the last few days, we've had a travel advisory listed by the Chinese government. We've had estimates that some 500,000 tickets from China to Japan have been cancelled. And on top of that, Japanese films that were set to release here have also been cancelled. So it feels like there are economic retaliations for what has been a geopolitical dispute that's been ongoing in the last few days.
And let's go back to the comments that started all of this. Remind us of what the Japanese Prime Minister said and the background of this.
Sanae Takaichi is a relatively new Prime Minister of Japan. She was speaking in Parliament and mentioned that if China were to make a move against Taiwan, that Japan would have to respond, or that Japan could respond in case of a Chinese blockade over Taiwan. We know, of course, that China has long claimed sovereignty over Taiwan, views the issue between China and Taiwan as an internal affair, and really does not like other countries, the United States, Japan, Korea, getting involved. Now, China has accused Japan's Prime Minister of taking these comments further than any of her predecessors and have warned of Japanese militarism as a result of these comments. So why would Sanae Takaichi make these comments in the first place? Well, there are a few reasons behind them. The first could be domestic politicking. We know that supporting Taiwan is something that could drum up support among her supporter base in her home country. We also know that historically Takaichi has been wary of China and has been seen to be a friend of Taiwan. Taiwan and Japan still have a close relationship that goes back to a historic period of colonialism. The other thing, of course, is that Japan and Taiwan are very close. Only around 100 kilometers separate the two of them at their closest point. And so any kind of Taiwan contingency, any military move, any blockade that China were to do against Taiwan, it's thought would inevitably have an impact on Japan. In the wake of these comments, this diplomatic dispute has erupted. In the last few days, Japan sent some diplomats here to Beijing to try and alleviate tensions. It seems as though it hasn't worked with this new seafood ban coming into place today. We also know that the Beijing authorities have said that Takaichi's remarks have fundamentally damaged relations between Tokyo and Beijing.
All right, Jan, thank you very much for giving us the latest on that diplomatic spat between Beijing and Tokyo.